Welcome back to the Professor's Lab. I'm Professor V, and this is round two of our league challenge that happened at Die Hard Games on April 24th, 2025. If you didn't know, Die Hard League happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, featuring casual and tournament play of whatever format everyone wants. Destined Rivals pre-releases start Saturday, May 17th at 1 p.m. League Challenge, May 29th at 6 p.m., and League Cup, May 31st at 12 p.m. All Central Time, all at Die Hard Games. Go see more info in this video's description and check out Pokemon's event locator for a premiere and other events at the shop, such as League Challenges, League Cups, pre-releases, and more. Please hit that like button right quick, subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications, say what you need to say in the comments, and all that other good free stuff. But anyways, let's research this Dragapult mirror match. The player on the right couldn't find a basic for two draws, so the player on the left got to draw two cards before the start of the game. Two mulligans happen, so two cards drawn, as notated by the two dice pip down there. Either way, we've got our basics down and ready to go here. Budu versus Dreepy to start things off here. Dragapult player on the right goes first, top decking a Dreepy, putting it on the bench, attaching a psychic energy to that benched Dreepy. So far, so good for the Dragapult deck as they pass things over to the Dragapult deck on the left with that Budu in the active spot and an Arven in hand. So our Dragapult player on the left off to a good start as well. I think it's actually Dragapult Dusknoir on the left versus straight Dragapult on the right. So mirror match, kinda, but not exactly. As this Arven is played, allowing the player to search their deck for an item and a tool to put into their hand. The item is probably going to be that Buddy Buddy Poffin. I'm just trying to scout the deck here for a tool target, and I'm not really seeing any so far. So maybe all relevant tools are in hand as or prized, as this Buddy Buddy Poffin is the item target, solo target of this Arven here. And then that Buddy Buddy Poffin will be played, allowing the player to search their deck for up to two basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less to put onto the bench. Double Dreepy, bound and established off of that Poffin. With the Budu in the active spot, the next thing they could ask for is an energy attachment, which I see in hand already. So both Dragapult players having a pretty good start here so far, I'd say. Dragapult player on the right probably has a bigger advantage for being the player that's going first, or that went first in this game. But the player on the left was able to play the supporter, establish two Dreepy of their own, and then the Budu is going to do some damage here as well. As we see the Psychic Energy attachment to a bench Dreepy on the left. And nothing else to do but Itchy Pollen. That Budu can use that attack for free for 10 damage, and the opponent cannot play item cards from their hand on their next turn. So evolve in the Dracloak on the bench, attach a fire energy to that Dracloak. I probably would have liked to see the recon directive before the energy attachment, even though the energy attachment probably would go there regardless. There's just these little things you can do to give yourself more of an edge against your opponent, especially in a mirror match, similar situation. As Arven is played next, kind of same thing. Maybe you recon before the Arven to better inform the Arven, though the Arven finding an item and a tool, one of the cards the Arven find is dead currently thanks to the Itchy Pollen. So maybe you thin the dead cards out first before being able to, quote, raw draw them with the recon directive. But what would be good to draw? Probably like another Dreepy or a Budu themselves, too. You can't find the item ball cards to find them. It has to be the Pokemon themselves. So maybe this Arven before the recon directive is just fine, just like the fire energy attachment probably was too. Usually not punished too hard by those minor sequencing decisions in the Pokemon trading card game, at least, as Arven searches out Ultra Ball and Rescue Board to add to the hand. Rescue board attached to the active. I guess you do the Arvin first before the recon too, because you wanted that board no matter what, probably, right, to attach to the active. So that way it can retreat into ideally a Budu or another Dreepy, as a recon directive is used on that Dracloak on the bench to look at the top two cards of the deck, keep one of them, put the other at the bottom, and oh my gosh, the Budu was found, put onto the bench, Dreepy free retreats into it thanks to the rescue board, and now this Budu fires back an Ichu Pollen of its own, 10 damage, and the opponent can't play items. These tables are turning so quickly here, so early, as we're on, what, turn 3 now? As our Dragapult player on the left starts their next turn. Now turn 4, right? Anyways, doesn't matter too much as the player plays a Jacques, supporter from hand, saying if I can't play Ultra Balls to find my evolution, I'll play the Jacques under item lock to search for 2 evolution Pokemon to put into the hand. Double Dracloak found off of the Jacques and evolved on the bench here. And we're shuffling things up before some reconnaissance. I can't quite remember what was all in the player's hand, but they're going to flash it here. Okay, they've got an Iono for disruption. Depends on how many cards the opponent has in hand, but they're going to start drawing cards first before committing to their supporter with the first recon directive. Looking at the top 2, sending one to the bottom, keeping the other. I didn't quite see them here as they go instantly into the second recon directive. Dragapult EX and something else are the targets there. And the Dragapult hit the bottom of the deck in favor of the Night Stretchers. Interesting. So maybe that telegraphs they're going for an Arvin this turn. Uh, three cards or so in the opponent's hand, so you probably don't want to. I don't know, but all that is moot. I apologize, since the Jock was played already, and you can only play one supporter for a turn in this game. Excuse me, guys, as we see a Itchy Pollen here for 10 damage and item lock the opponent. That's why the players are out there playing and I'm chilling in the professor's lab researching here. Oh, we're seeing some research as of our player's own as a luminous energy is attached to the bench Dreepy. That is a rainbow energy, energy of any type, as long as that's the only special energy attached to that Pokemon. And then a professor's research, discarding the hand, some item cards that they can't play, and drawing 7 fresh new cards. The decks are adapting to the item lock, whether they like it or not, as a Dracloak number 2 is found and evolved on the bench now. And we're going to see the first recon directive, looking at the top 2 cards of the deck, consulting the hand here to better inform the decision of which one goes into the hand and which one goes to the bottom of the deck. I didn't see what the 2 cards are. I don't know what's in hand, so we'll trust our players here. I think it was a luminous energy grab there. Either way, second recon directive being used now. Looking at the top 2, keeping one of those pretty quickly, putting the other at the bottom of the deck. Psychic energy, it looks like. Yeah, that was needed for sure, as the Dracloak on the bench evolves into the Dragapult. Budu free retreats into that fully powered up Dragapult EX. And our Dragapult player on the right is the first to start swinging with that Phantom Dive attack. Take note of it. 200 damage to the active, and then you can put 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. 3 and 3 on each of the Dracloak. That's nice because that would leave each of them with 60 to be cleaned up later. As Dracloak on the left floats into the active spot and play resumes there. We need energy, Dragapult EX. Arvin is being played now and can find a useful item this turn, since the Dragapult player on the left is no longer item locked. So they are playing the Arvin to search for an item and a tool to add to hand. Okay, there's the energy needed with the earthen vessel, but is there Dragapult in hand? Oh, and there's the unfair stamp. Okay, our player's got stuff going on. So Arvin just finds the vessel. Vessel discards Blood Moon Ursa Luna that we don't need right now. We can get it back later with Rescue Stretcher or something like that. Our players planning, I assume. An earthen vessel allows them to search their deck for up to 2 basic energy to put into their hand. Fire and Psychic found here. So we got the fire. Now we just need that Dragapult EX to start swinging back. They did get rid of it last turn, or reconned it away last turn, the Dragapult. So now we're looking for it with Recon Directive number 1, looking at the top 2, putting 1 to the bottom, keeping the other. Recon Directive number 2, ugh, just kind of junk. I guess you kind of like the Buddy Poffin, but I wonder if you stamp before the Recon Directives. All things our players need to consider here is fire energy is attached to the active Dracloak, and then a Buddy Buddy Poffin is played to search the deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less. 2 Dreepy probably. It gets kind of scary putting down a Duskull since it only has 60 HP, but so does your Dracloak on the bench if you don't evolve it. You kind of don't want to evolve it. So you can so you can continue to draw cards, but you probably do if you can to protect it from getting KO'd. Either way, Buddy Buddy Poffin's played, finding Duskull and Dreepy to hit the bench here. I really want that Dragapult EX, so our player truly believes that this unfair stamp can find it, unless there's a supporter hiding in there that I'm unaware of. Oh, there's some Iono and stuff too. All right, Dragapult EX in hand already. So ignore everything I was saying again. They just had the Dragapult ready to go, and it evolves in the active spot here. Defiance Band attached to it as well, doing plus 30 damage since the opponent is ahead on prize cards. Though that doesn't make too much of a difference here. It does put more damage counters in play, but maybe you could save it for a big power play with Ursaluna or something else, knocking out Fez with Dragapult later or something. Either way, our player wants to cash in on it now as they attach it to the active. And they're eyeing up this unfair stamp. I believe this is all pre-supporter as well. You probably unfair stamp over Iono since you have it right now and can play it. That pink ace spec item card can be played right now since the opponent took a KO on their last turn. Having both players shuffle their hands into their decks, the stamp player gets to draw 5 from the top, and the opponent only gets to draw 2. Not the worst thing in the world for the opponent since they have a Dracloak down. They could see 2 more cards basically on their next turn with the top deck, but either way, still attempting to put the opponent in a tough spot here. You've got to go for it. We've got the attack. Unfair stamp being resolved now. Okay, there's the Ultra Ball, so they could find right now the second Dragapult EX and evolve on the bench, protecting that Dracloak if they wanted to. They also put a Duskull down with 60 HP. That could be kind of, I don't know, kind of distracting the opponent as well. Maybe they go after the Duskull instead of the Dracloak, so I don't have to evolve it right now and lose Recon Directive on my next turn if my opponent doesn't target it. We'll see how it works out for our player here as Dragapult swings for 230 damage thanks to the live Defiance Band to the active, and then cleans up the KO on the Dreepy on the bench and puts the rest of the 6 damage counters on the Dracloak that's there as well. And play resumes over on the right-hand side. First, Buddy Buddy Poffin. Search the deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less. So our player is going to check their deck for some buddy targets here. and they find one. A Dreepy joins the party now. One snapshot of the Dreepy's life on board now with the Dracloak and the Dragapult there as well. Potentially going back in here with an Artisan that gets put into play, and that stadium allows a player to search their deck for a basic Pokemon with no rule box to put onto the bench during their turn. The Monkey Dory is the target this time of the Artisan. The Dragapult tech, it's also good in all kinds of other situations. Maybe the Clefairy EX is now the Dragapult tech. Dragapult counter here. And then, oh my gosh, the straight Dragapult player plays an unfair stamp of their own, firing back here with the unfairness since the KO was taken on the opponent's last turn. Both players shuffle their hands into their deck. Looks like we're missing an Ultra Ball on the table there, though. I'm sure our players will catch it here. And both players shuffle their hands into their deck. And the unfair stamp player gets to draw 5 cards from the top, and the opponent just gets 2. We're getting a nice good shuffle here. I'll go forward a bit. Looks like they caught the Ultra Ball here, and it's just going to shuffle it back in. And I think our player on the right is going to wait, but we'll try to follow them here as our player on the left resolves their unfair stamp. Straight Dragapult player on the right benches a Pheasantipity EX. That is live to flip the script since the opponent took a KO on their last turn. And our player eyes up their hand. It looks like they're going for this Ultra Ball here. Do they Ultra Ball first, or do we Fez first? Yes, the Dreepy was just put down, so you can't evolve that right now. Ultra Ball discards a Buddy Buddy Poffin and a Luxurious Cape to search the deck for a Pokemon, basic or evolution. Maybe a Dragapult to evolve this Dracloak here with. But yeah, that's the ordering. I guess you play the Ultra Ball first, since you for sure don't want the Poffin, and the player decides not to cape as well. So you have the cards thin out of your hand, discard them with Ultra Ball to thin another card out of your deck to make your flip the script and your um, recon that much more effective. They are actually going to go for this Dragapult EX with the Ultra Ball, since that Dracloak on the bench is susceptible to being KO'd by a Dragapult on the next turn. We're going to protect its HP by evolving. But first, flip the script on that Pheasantipity EX, draw 3 cards since the opponent took a KO on their last turn. Then we're going to cash in on this Recon Directive if it's time now. The player says yes to look at the top 2, keep a card, and send the other to the bottom. I think it was Iono and Bravery Charm. And if you have a supporter in hand, you probably keep the Bravery Charm. And that's what our player does there as they evolve now that bench Dracloak into the Dragapult. The player's board on the right is looking pretty scary now, especially when they put that Bravery Charm on the Fez like they're doing now, giving it plus 50 HP, making it that much harder to KO. 360 HP that bird has there on the bench. They were looking maybe for an energy. Yeah, I think they can attach an energy as well. Looking for an energy so that way they could retreat into the bench Dragapult that has more HP, potentially an attack with it. But if we don't have the energy needed to attack with it, just the basic energy, fire or psychic, then we've got to swing with the active because you definitely attack and output the damage, keep the pressure going. So Phantom Dive, 200 to the active, Dragapult, and 6 to the bench, Dracloak taking it out. That's what they should have did instead of chasing the Duskull, I believe. Not being distracted by that. And they protected their own Dracloak on the bench there by evolving into Dragapult. Could that be the difference here to let them take this game? Round two. As our left Dragapult Dusknoir player starts their next turn. They've got an attack and a KO. They probably could pick off something on the bench here as well as they evolve their bench Duskull into Duskops. Use a Curse Blast ability to knock itself out and put 5 damage counters on the opponent's Monkey Dory. The opponent take a prize card, of course, since that Pokemon was knocked out. That ghost Pokemon. Artisan is being used by our left Dragapult player now to search their deck for a basic non-Roblox Pokemon to put onto the bench. It's going to be another Dreepy. One can evolve, one cannot. Get it out of the deck. We want to try and build our board with more dragons again. Uh, Something to consider would be it getting KO'd with the Hawlucha and Phantom Dive, the Dreepy that can evolve, but we're not evolving the other one anyways, so no, might as well just get it down, I guess. As the Dragapult uses Phantom Dive to KO the active Dragapult and put 6 damage counters on the Monkey Dory, cleaning up the KO on it for a 3 prize card turn, going down to 2 here. As Dragapult on the right floats into the active spot and play resumes there. We've got the fire energy attached to the active, so we are going to see a Phantom Dive and at least 2 prize cards this turn. This Ultra Ball discards a couple cards to search the deck for Pokemon Basic Revolution, but I'm sure they want to find that Hawlucha. Its ability, if you put it, the Hawlucha's ability, if you put it on the bench, you could put 2 damage counters on, or a damage counter on 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and that would instantly win them the game here, because they would ping one of the Dreepies for 10, or both the Dreepies for 10, I guess. Knock out the active with the Phantom Dive, 6 on either Dreepy, and that's 3 prize cards there. But since the player's still resolving this Ultra Ball, I'm going to assume that their Hawlucha's prized. If they play it, it could not be in the list as well, but I think you play Hawlucha and Dragapult no matter what. They're going to pull out the Blood Moon or Saluna instead and add it to the hand. Then play Jacques as a supporter for turn, searching for 2 evolution Pokemon from the deck to add to the hand. Double Cloak seeked out by that Jacques there. Might as well evolve the bench Dreepy as well and see a couple more cards. Give it more HP, of course, too. Alright, Cloak on the bench evolves. And we still have the Pheasantipede EX flip the script live to draw 3 cards since the opponent took a KO. Then Cloak Recon Directive. Look at the top 2. Keep 1. Yeah, I guess you grab the counter catcher, right? That'll have more utility than the Poffin at this point. Put the other card at the bottom of the deck. We saw all of our stuff. They've got the energy attachment. They played a supporter. It's just missing the Hawlucha to win right now. So Phantom Dive the active knocks it out. 200 knocks it out in the active spot. And then 3 and 3 on the bench. Going with this, if you evolve into Dracloak, both of them into Dracloak, I would still be able to knock one out on the bench with 3 spread. As Dreepy on the left floats into the active spot and play resumes there. With Pheasantipede EX put on the bench. Flip the script, draws 3 cards since the opponent took a KO on their last turn, getting all the options in hand. A Dracloak evolves on the bench now and uses Recon Directive to look at the top 2. Keep one of the cards and put the other at the bottom. Oh my gosh, the Dracloak train is live as that evolves in the active and uses Recon Directive itself to look at the top 2. Put a card on the bottom, keep the other as a nest ball in hand. I didn't see the other choice, of course. But I don't think there's any way to attack this turn. You can't even just Budu because the opponent just has one prize card remaining. I don't know if this deck plays Crispin. We saw the ace spec as unfair stamp, so it's not like Neo Upper Energy or something. And they can't even get to a Dragapult EX either this turn, so not looking good. It may just be checkmate here. You probably would just retreat into Pheasantipity EX and force the opponent to have. They do already. Yeah, nothing. I'm not seeing it, guys. Let me know in the comments what their best play would be here as they Ultra Ball Dusknoir and Rare Candy to search the deck for a Pokemon. So they're looking for a way out. Let's look with them here as they shuffle through the deck. We're all out of draw. I didn't know if there's a supporter in hand. I was going to say body language looks like our player on the left is conceding, and that's what they do here as they're looking. Couldn't Ultra Ball for Night Stretcher, but showing their outs is they needed Night Stretcher. Oh, that Blood Moon or Saluna plus Defiance ban would get there, but they use their ban. I don't know if they play another one. And then, oh, our player on the right is showing that that turn they were looking for the Halucha. It was actually in the prize cards. So pretty cool semi Dragapult matchup we had here. What do you think of this video in the commentary? Please leave feedback in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you to our players for letting their game be captured so we can all learn and enjoy. And I'll see you next time in the professor's lab.